Good morning and welcome to my 12-month ownership review of my Ducati Hypermotard. In this video I'll be giving my thoughts and a few comparisons to the 939, the previous model. So if you're in the market for a Hyper, stick around as there might be some useful information that you can take away. So on a side note, whilst I've been recording all this, I've been using my GoPro Hero 9. You'll see all the different settings I've used pop up on the screen. Take note, try them out, see what you think. If there's anything that you use or any information or feedback for myself, then please let us know in the comments below. At the end of the video I do stick on the max lens mod, just to, again, as another comparison to try out. So just a brief history. This is the second Hypermotard that I've owned, as well as many other types of bikes. Having previously owned the 939 Hyper, the 2017 model, the SP version, which is the same as this one, which was without a doubt the best road bike I've ever owned. I loved the look of it, the sound, the riding position, and after only 500 miles of that first bike I had, after the running in service of course, I had the bike around Cadwell Park, which was amazing. Topping out at about 130 miles an hour, you do get left standing on the straights, but as soon as the corners come up, the Hyper's brakes, which are amazing, will embarrass a few of the big bikes. This being the newer model definitely feels a lot more aggressive, and at first, bearing in mind I had a bit of a break from having the Hyper, I did find it a bit harder to get on with at the start, and on the first few rides I did stall it a few times, but you'll soon get to grips with it. After all, it is a big 900cc twin. So like most people, I spent a lot of time looking at different reviews and comparisons before committing to the newer model, and after 12 months of ownership, as I mentioned, I feel I'm in a good position to give some feedback back to the YouTube community. So going back, just backtracking a bit, before I'd even contemplated a Hyper, I wasn't actually in the market for one. I'd purchased a Triumph Street Triple and I fell off on a gravel road, which was completely my fault. So during this time, well, I had to sort of put a few new parts on it to get it back to its back to normal, if you like. I had a good friend working at P&H Motorcycles and told me, look, you need to get down here and have a shot of this new 939. So this was the one back in 2017, the Hypermotard. And honestly, after just about 10 minutes on the bike, I knew it was for me. The torque and the riding position, it was very similar to a motocross riding position, and the torque was completely different to the Street Triple. The Street Triple, not the Speed. The 675 Triple. So I'd never been able to really wheelie a bike before, and on this test ride, I kid you not, second gear, chucked the clutch out, and pulled the biggest wheelie I've ever pulled on a bike before. Needless to say, the Triumph was getting part exchanged. Fast forward a few years and a few bikes later, I was in the market for another fun bike. I'll probably just do another video just to go over all the different bikes I did consider and bikes I did test ride. But for now, we'll just stick with the new 950 Hyper. I mean, yes, there was more supermoto focused bikes, there's plenty of faster bikes, but for me the Hyper ticks all the boxes. So the positives. Just to look at the bike, it is such a good looking bike. It's a massive head turner and it sounds incredible. Compared to the older model, this one has the added auto blipper, which just makes that riding experience even better. Now you do have to be up in the revs to sort of get it going, but you'll find that that's how you'll ride this bike. It does make you ride like a bit of a child, if I'm honest. The single-sided swing arm, the latest technology, the dash lifted from the V4 Panigale, and the tardiness of the brand are all what gives you that warm feeling when you open the garage door and see the Hyper. Now, on all of that tech, even though there's been lots of updates and improvements made to the electronics, 90% of the time the traction control is off, the wheelie control is off, and the ABS is set to minimum. And yes, the auto blipper function is on. Okay, you can just see on the dash here, I'm gonna just toggle down here, and I'm gonna go to my, where is it? Menu. Hit enter. Rider modes. Okay, so we got sport. So I'd say, well, to be honest, 100% of the time we're in this mode. Engine, full power. You got medium, low. We're going to keep that at high. Okay, we're going to go back. DCT, traction control. So you can see that's turned off. I will use that on the circuit. ABS is set to minimum, which is level 1. So, oh, yeah, it's actually set to track, which means that the cornering ABS is off and the rear ABS is turned off. It's just the front ABS which is on. Wheelie control, I think that goes without saying that it's off. What am I doing? I can't even go into that. I think that's because of the traction control. Auto blipper's up, yeah, up and down. That's on. Let's go back. Let's just quickly try something. Yeah. So if I go into the traction control and put that on 2, and we go back, and then we go back into the wheelie control. Right, now I can go back in the wheelie control because I've turned on traction control. Now you can see here there's a lot more adjustability, and this is really good when you're on the circuit. It's going to keep that front end down, and it's not intrusive. But for on the road, or should I say private road, we're going to keep that turned off, because we like to do wheelies, or at least try. DCT, we then put that off, and then when you go all the way back to the where am I going? Let's go all the way back to the front page. You can see here all of your settings. Now this is different when you take it on the circuit. For me anyways, I will have the wheelie control set on and the traction control on, just to try and make myself go faster, and obviously a bit of a safety net. The brakes, really good, big wide bars, yeah, it's very good to handle, very comfortable. Now when I had this on the track, I did have an Aprilia RSV4, which, as you can imagine, that's obviously a lot more suited to the track, but with that definitely comes a lot more expectation. When you rock up on something like this, you haven't got that expectation, and it is so much fun. It's so much fun, especially if you're able to embarrass a few of the bigger bikes. Sticking with tracks, be very cautious on what exhaust you pick. Now this one, the exhaust that came with this one, it's a Zard. It came with the bike. This bike was actually second hand when I bought it, and it is very loud. I wouldn't say it's as loud as the SC Project that I had on the 939. The noise police at Cadwell Park were actually really good, and they kind of turned a bit of a blind eye, and they did let us on. But I think if we're being really strict, it probably was tipping over that noise rating that you're allowed. Now, if you're planning, if you're getting one of these bikes to do track days, the one thing that I would do, I'll just show you here, the ground clearance isn't the best. you can see that these pegs will make contact with the ground on the circuit, that is. If you're not going on the circuit, I wouldn't worry about it. You can sort this out. You can get rear sets. There isn't many companies doing them, so you will be paying a fortune for them. I think the only ones I've seen, they're about £700, and I haven't done another track day since, so I've not bothered getting them. I'm only using it on the road, and they're completely fine on the road, and they make for a comfortable riding position. So long trips. I plan on making another video in the coming weeks, hopefully next week or the week after. I will be riding this bike to Rotterdam, which will be about a 450-mile trip for me. I'll be taking the Eurotunnel. So as soon as I've done that, and I've inserted a load of GoPro footage, and I've been testing my GoPros out and whatnot, so, stay tuned for that, and I'll let you know how this bike performs on the long trips. Negatives. Well, as mentioned, the bike is really loud, and I do actually think that's a good thing, and I love the sound of it. But if you're trying to creep out of your neighbourhood, your estate early in the morning, it can get a bit. You've got to kind of try and pull the clutch in, coast a bit. It's the same as if you pass a police car in town or whatever. You'll be pulling the clutch in and you'll be coasting. Or if you're passing horses on a country lane road, the bike will go quiet, but it's still a 900cc twin with a loud exhaust, regardless of what you do to it. So it's just one thing to bear in mind. If you're wanting this for a commuter and you live in a built-up area, or you know, depending on where you live, it's a loud bike. Ground clearance, like I mentioned, that can be sorted. Apart from that, it's a big 937cc twin that vibrates. You can't put that as a negative. It's kind of expected. Low speed as well. You know, it's this bike. You know, you're not going to be doing under 20 mile an hour for long. But if you are, it's a big 900cc twin. So that's it for now. This is the first video that I've made. So please, any feedback is greatly appreciated. Also, if there's any questions or anything you'd like to sort of see or to know, please don't hesitate to comment in the sections below. At the time of uploading this, I've got 2 subscribers, so if you're feeling generous, hit that subscription button. I've got a few different ideas for more videos, whether it's Hypermotard related or GoPro related. I'm wanting to improve on both, so thanks again, and I'll see you soon.